Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're getting our first impressions of the brand new album from Nervosa titled Perpetual Chaos. So Nervosa drops a new album today and we are pretty pumped. We've reacted to this band a few times, 3 times to be exact. One when they had their old lineup from old albums, but 2 videos off this album that was Guided by Evil and Under Ruins, which we just put out a day or so ago. Both songs were just awesome, full of energy, just thrash brigade, you know, just awesome stuff. We were pretty pumped for this. So yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I haven't listened to this band too much, but from everything I've heard, they are awesome. I'm really excited to get into this album. So with that being said, we're going to listen to Perpetual Chaos for the very first time in its entirety, and we'll be right back to give you guys our first impressions. So stay put.
Alright guys, we're back. We just listened to Perpetual Chaos, and I gotta say, this was a super fun album to listen to. It just has so much energy, exactly what I was expecting. These ladies do not play around. You know what, I'm gonna change that phrase. I'm gonna say these ladies do not fuck around, because this is just pure chaos. From beginning to end, it does go on a bit of a roller coaster. There's some parts that are kind of a little bit more mellow. They do drop the tempo down a little bit here and there. But for the most part, this is just an onslaught of crazy thrash. And my favorite thing about it, and this is just on our first impressions, I've only heard it once. We've only heard it once. But my favorite thing about this is that it did not suffer from that kind of repetitive nature that I feared it would. Now, there was a few things that kind of started, like certain songs. I'll start with like a song like Godless Prisoner, which is track number 9. At that point I was like, what do I say about this? Like, it didn't really have anything that spoke to me, so it kind of got a low rating for me. There's a couple songs like that, Pursued by Judgment, which was track 12, but we're in the latter half of the album at this point, okay? But this album has some really cool songs on it. My top rated song, I'm gonna talk about that, was track number 8, which was right before track number 9, which I didn't like that much. But track number 8, Time to Fight. What a fucking awesome song. The energy's so high, the tempo's up there. This got this sweet little solo. The hype that I get from listening to this stuff is just out of this world. The outro, it had this really cool, dynamic kind of outro. I don't know how else to really describe it. It's one of those things you gotta hear it to really like get the feeling that I'm trying to evoke here in my words. Is evoke the right word? I don't know. But I mean, the few other songs that were notable for me, Venomous, the first track, Guided by Evil, and a track that featured Schmeier from Destruction, which was track number 6, Genocidal Command, was also awesome. It started with this Angel of Death style scream. Just fucking awesome. Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that Time to Fight was your favorite track, because it was actually one of my lowest rated tracks, and here's why.
Wow.
That song, for me, is when the album started to get a little bit repetitive. Now, here's the thing. Overall, this was an enjoyable album to listen to, like, throughout the entirety. I enjoyed this album. It was good. But there were a few songs where I kind of couldn't think of anything to write. Nothing really stood out. And it started there. Like, that was pretty much, it was really track 7, 8, where I kind of started to get to the point of, I guess it's good, but I really can't say anything about it. But, you know, my 2 favorite songs were Genocidal Command, insane song, I love that Schmeier's in there, sounds sick, and also Blood Eagle, track number 10. I like how brooding it is. There was some cool, like the bridge had some space. There were some awesome pauses after the chorus. Like, I loved that.
Those
really
were awesome. Those full band rests, those were sick.
So cool. So I was really digging that. Yeah. But so overall, the album was strong. Just a few points where I kind of felt like I didn't really have much to say. But I mean, overall, the energy cranked up to 11. I really loved the drumming on this album because there are points of it that are pretty straightforward, where it's like, okay, you got this double kick, or you got this blast beat, or this grip, or whatever. very technically profound, but there's a lot of bits sprinkled in there. A lot of small fills. There was like one song.
Yeah.
Where was it? One song had like a little drum fill. Yeah, it was People of the Abyss. Had this. I wish it would devolve. I wish it evolved into a full solo, but it was like a small, tiny drum break. It was sick.
Yeah.
I loved that. I was really hoping that kind of turned into something more. Another small criticism I have about this album is that the solos were just a little short. I thought there was some really cool potential for the most wildest and ridiculous solos, but they kind of ended before they could really get you into the thick of it. Now, they were good. What I heard was good. I enjoyed that, but I kind of wish that some of the solos were a little bit longer. Because it's okay to have short solos, but I think some of them could be a little bit more extensive, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. If you guys watched our reaction to Under Ruins, I actually made a comment very similar to that the solos there was just a little bit too short for my liking. I like, you know, kind of just some meat in the solos, a little bit more robust. What did you think of track number 11, Rebel Soul? It had a guest vocalist feature on Eric Ack.
Yeah, he's from Flotsam and Jetsam. I liked how his voice sounds, so it really made for something different, but aside from that, I couldn't really think of much to say about the song itself. But I do like when you have a feature on an album, and it really gives that track a distinct personality from it. So when I hear that
that's
song,
exactly why I brought it up.
I'm gonna think of, you know, this voice and be like, wow, that's like something, you know, like, so you can kind of subvert a little bit of repetitive issues if you kind of have a feature to give it, you know, the personality, I guess. I guess that kind of works out there. But at the same time, though, you got a song like, Genocidal Command, which the feature is amazing, but on top of that, the song is sick and one of the most standout songs on the album.
Very true. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was clever of them to get the features. There was another feature too on track number 5. Guilherme Miranda. I butcher names all the time, so I'm sorry if I said that wrong. But he's from Entombed AD, and you know, that song was pretty good. That song actually had a really good solo in it. But as for the most part, most of these songs are just super thrashy, super raw, super heavy. The band is super tight. I'll say that for sure.
Oh yeah, they are for sure. Something funny about Until the Very End is I wrote, oh, solo was solid. And then a second one happened, so I'm like, okay, solo number 1 was solid. Oh, solo number 2 was also solid. Like, I like how, I'm like, okay, that was a good solo, could have been longer. Oh, there's a second one. Okay, caught me by surprise for sure.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the solos a minute ago and saying they're not long enough, well, there's a couple on here that were sufficient, I would say. But overall, for the most part, they could have been a little bit more meaty. But I think for our first impressions, I think this really did a good job. I'm definitely looking forward to listening to this through the week.
Yep, same.
So I'm looking at the track, like I'm gonna keep looking down at my notes, right? I'm looking at the track list and I'm going, oh yeah, I want to hear that again. Like you mentioned Blood Eagle, and I just remembered how kind of creeping that song sounded. It got these like creeping riffs, and the intro had this build up. It almost sounded like it could have been an album opener. But as the song went on, I was like, nah, this is not an album opener. This is definitely in the right spot. But definitely had a different vibe from the rest of the album, so I'm eager to hear that again. I'm eager to hear all of it again, to be honest. Like that, I'm just hyped right now.
Yeah, good album. I enjoyed it.
Yep. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna listen to this album as much as we possibly can for the entire week, and we'll be back next week to give you guys a full and final review of Perpetual Chaos. So be sure to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you guys enjoyed the channel. Let us know what you guys think of Nervosa and what you think of this album. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
And we'll see you guys on the next video. Keep those heads banging.